Happy New Year. If you are anything like me, then as far as crypto goes, you want to put 2022 in your rearview mirror and you want to keep it there. And you're also probably hoping that the bear market will end and that 2023 is finally a reason for some optimism in this space. And we at Altcoin Buzz are optimists when it comes to 2023. In fact, we have 4 coins, these cover 3 different sectors, that we feel are going to do pretty well no matter what else happens in the market this year. Today, we are looking at our annual New Year's picks, the 2023 edition. Stay tuned as we unveil our picks and, more importantly, why they were chosen. Welcome to Altcoin Buzz. My name is Maddie. Happy New Year. Hard to believe it's already 2023, but here we are. There are always so many great projects in this space. We are not fair weather fans. We're never going to lose our enthusiasm. But as a gentle reminder, just keep in mind that what we're talking about today should not be considered official financial or investment advice. With that being said, let's launch right into our first choice. But so that you understand it, a little bit of preface here. Our research team at Altcoin Buzz firmly believe, as do I, that the metaverse is going to make a big comeback in 2023. And it may not be right away, but it will inevitably happen. And whether or not it comes back right away, the picks here that we're looking at today, they suggest that when you're looking back in December of 2023, you're going to be able to say to yourself, oh, that was a good pick. That recovered well. That did well against the market. That's what we're going for here. And so the metaverse really could be one of those recovering sectors that we think is going to do well as far as the long term. So with that premise, with that assumption that we do like the metaverse, the question becomes, what do we buy? Well, look, we still like the undisputed leader in this category. It is the Sandbox. Because look, most metaverses, if we're looking critically, are more about hype than actual development and adoption. And the 2 leading metaverses, without doubt, are Decentraland and the Sandbox. We like the Sandbox more. And that is for a couple of different reasons. Decentraland only has 7,057 unique users in the last 30 days. Pretty modest metrics. This is a terrible number, in fact. I'm actually being kind of gentle with them, but it's a bad number. It's ridiculously low considering that you have to come online to use the metaverse there, making the numbers easy to track. Despite also being way down, the Sandbox is doing better. In November alone, there were over 35,000 token transfers equaling more than $350 million in value. So to really dumb it down, there are simply many more people using the Sandbox, and we feel it will recover faster for this reason. Guys, if not the Sandbox, maybe it is Decentraland, but if not one of those 2, what is your favorite metaverse project? We like the Sandbox, but if it's something else, let us know in the comments below. All right, here's a little bit of a curveball. Coin number 2 is not an altcoin. It is Bitcoin. Because, look, the last couple of months, if you've been watching us, you know that I personally have been talking a lot about Bitcoin as well, probably more than usual. And there are some pretty basic reasons for that, fundamentals really. First of all, it is the undisputed leader as far as cryptocurrencies. And as we've said in other videos, if you are not hodling at least some Bitcoin, then you're doing it wrong, unfortunately. Hate to break it to you. And furthermore, Bitcoin is the asset of last resort because we just talked about this in our last video, because even all the other scammers, after they sell off their assets, things like FTT tokens, they end up using that money to buy Bitcoin. They're not buying Ethereum. They're not buying other altcoins. They're buying BTC. And it's because it is the highest quality asset in the industry. But now there's also another argument for it, and that is CBDCs. So we all know that interest from governments issuing their own CBDC, that stands, by the way, for central bank digital currency. That interest from governments is at an all-time high, and it's growing. More governments are coming out of the woodwork every day. They're going to be issuing them eventually. And you also know that they're bad and used as a method to control citizens. This is, yes, based to a certain extent on cryptography, on the blockchain, but in a very centralized way. It's not good for us. So look, after the bad experience of using a CBDC, more are going to see the benefits of Bitcoin. And in fact, I think CBDCs are bullish for Bitcoin ultimately. It's going to look like a competition at first, but then people will see the difference. People that maybe are unfamiliar with these kinds of technologies, they're going to become more mainstream, and then people are going to be able to see the difference, hopefully, at least once they see through the propaganda. Just like how as kids, we kind of eat cheap and, fast food, junk food, hamburgers, then we eventually upgrade to artisanal ones made of Angus beef when we want something of higher quality. That's a loose analogy, but you see where I'm going with this. Because Bitcoin is not only the asset of last resort, it is the most feared asset in the entire world when it comes to financial institutions, when it comes to governments wanting to issue things like CBDCs. Seriously, it is something that they fear. Because you don't see governments trying to ban and outlaw Ethereum, Cardano, Avalanche, or even our beloved Polygon. It's just not what they're doing. And the reason why is that they're not threatened by those assets. So that's the thing. Governments fear Bitcoin for good reason. And maybe you believe in crypto much more than just Bitcoin. Maybe you're also on board with our mentality, which is very holistically supportive of quality altcoin projects. That's fine. But you should still own some Bitcoin. All right, moving right along. Coin number 3 is one we haven't talked about in a little while, and it all boils down to Web3 infrastructure, which is an area that we expect to really blow up. And our 2023 pick in this particular category is Arweave. I personally like that Arweave works in a couple of different areas of Web3 infrastructure and not just file storage, which is unfortunately the case for Filecoin or SIA. They are really specific just to that category. But when it comes to Arweave, you can see here just how fast their ecosystem is growing. They already have more than 100 projects under their belt. And Arweave is enabling no-code decentralized websites when working with projects like Portrait. And one way to think of Arweave is like a competitor both of Filecoin and of IPFS. It stores your information forever and in a censorship-resistant way. That's probably the most important part. It's a big deal. It's actually huge in terms of supporting other areas we like, things, for example, like identity and decentralized Web3 versions of Web 2 products, things like social media and web. Instagram, for example, is using them for NFT file storage. And this is very much a trend that we feel is only going to get bigger, and Arweave really is leading the way when it comes to these advantages. Arweave is down pretty seriously, although it's up on the day as I record, up 6.7%, but it's in that $6 to $7 range, down from an all-time high of $89 in November of 2021. I was going to say November of last year, but November of 2 years ago, 2021. Here we're looking at the one-year chart. Just a 50% retracement toward that previous high would mean a 7x return from where we currently stand. And look, it's a great project at what we feel right now is a pretty attractive price. If there's another project that you prefer when it comes to Web3 infrastructure, let us know what that may be. Maybe you have another favorite, but we are sticking behind Arweave. Let us know if you disagree in the comments below. Okay, and finally, rounding out our list, last but not least, we're looking at Polkadot, ticker DOT, D-O-T. And this is where it comes to interoperability that we are prizing. We feel it's going to continue to be a big theme in 2023 and beyond. And therefore, that influences very much our top choice, which is here Polkadot for that category. Now, you know from our other videos that we love Atom, A-T-O-M, and the Cosmos ecosystem. But DOT has two things that Atom does not. So first, Cosmos's ecosystem is well ahead of Polkadot's, and there's no denying that. And that may be a bad thing. It may suggest that we ought to choose Cosmos, but in this case, it means that we know that Polkadot has room to grow just to get to Cosmos's level of ecosystem growth and beyond. And so we're somewhat betting here on the underdeveloped but technically solid underdog. At only $4.48, DOT's really been beaten down. And look, before hitting any huge growth projections for its future, really just equaling or approaching Cosmos's ecosystem value would be a very nice return for Polkadot. Right now, they're sitting on a $5.3 billion approximately market cap. So that equals the value of the top 3 projects in Cosmos, those being Cosmos, Atom, Kronos, and Terra Luna Classic, ticker LUNC, the rebuilt version of Luna after its implosion in the spring. So all the other great Cosmos projects you might know, things like Secret for privacy, Osmosis for DEX, Kujira for DeFi, which is, by the way, in our 50x long-term portfolio, our mid-cap gem, which is Kava, and many more. All of these are added value that Cosmos has that the Polkadot ecosystem can also capture as its ecosystem grows. Just to catch up to Cosmos, DOT can grow by 60% or $3 billion up to $8.5 billion, and people wouldn't even notice. Most people at least, but not hodlers, of course, like us. And look, the second thing that DOT has that Atom doesn't is more of its ecosystem value accrues to the token. So thanks to its crowd loans and the parachain auction system, there are many forced hodlers of DOT that tend to hold their DOT for a long time, because parachain leases are 96 weeks, just short of 2 years. And so that locks up lots of DOT. And of course, it's an obvious sign of how growth in parachains equals growth for the DOT token. And for Cosmos, growth in the ecosystem does not always translate, unfortunately, into growth price-wise for Atom. And this is one of the big issues that Prop 82, which failed, was trying to address. Now, I think they're going to be addressing this problem in 2023 so that Atom is maybe a greater reflection, hopefully, of the Cosmos ecosystem and its value. But it is not there yet, and it's not there today. So right now, we're going with Polkadot. Although, look, we do love them both, admittedly. There you have it, our top 4 across those important categories for 2023. Of course, there's going to be some disagreement when it comes to these choices, but those are our picks for the year. If you disagree, what your choices, what your alternatives are in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications. Stay safe out there, members of the Altcoin Buzz army. As always, we hope to see you again soon in the next video. Happy New Year.